Hello and welcome to another draft video here on YouTube. My name is Ethan, also known as Lord Tupperware. We're back in XLN, baby. I know some people are tired of this format, not me. I'm about 180 drafts deep and still going strong. So as many of you who have watched my stream or listened to my podcast, you will know that I am a big proponent of the quote Durdle decks in XLN, and I think they're very good. And I was just drafting off stream and saw this Verdant Sun's avatar first, and I was like, this will be a good way to show maybe forcing Durdle in this format. So I took a Verdant Sun's avatar first, and then in a pack where probably Imperial Aerosaur, as you saw, was the correct pick, quote unquote, there is a very good splashable removal spell that gains you life, which is just what the Durdle deck ordered, and so I grabbed that there. So this deck only really works if you're aware of signals of an aggressive real deck, which I'm not really seeing here. So I'm certainly looking at Sun Petal Grove, which I think is actually what I'm going to take. It's going to allow us to splash Pious Interdiction if we're green based. Otherwise, I don't know, you could take Lightning Rig Crew, you could take Water Trap Weaver. Weaver is just fine, but I would really like to be base green. And getting a Drover fourth is just perfection. That really lets me know that perhaps a few people to my right are not interested in being green. So these decks are looking for a lot of pieces to come together. You have to have ramp/fixing, you have to have good early defensive plays, you have to have good removal, you have to have good late game plays, and you probably also want card draw or mana sinks. So it's a lot to ask for, a lot of things have to come together, but so far we're looking pretty good here. Oh, baby, and we get a Thundering Spineback, which is exactly what you want for this deck. So Thundering Spineback and Shapers of Nature are the two cards at Uncommon that are mana sinks. So they're the cards you're most likely to see, which is why this deck ends up being Sultai-based. You're generally going to be some combination of green, blue, or black, because in green and blue is where the fixing is. Green with Drover and New Horizons, blue with all of the treasure makers like Sailor of Means is such a high pick for this deck. So your pick order has to really alter to draft this kind of deck. So we're going to grab a Thundering Spineback here and see what comes next as my art takes a second to load. Well, we've got an Air Elemental. So a thing that I haven't mentioned yet is how soft this deck is to flyers. This deck loses to flyers more than basically anything else. So if people are just playing like Shaper's Apprentice and Siren Lookouts, you're just going to get wrecked. So things like Grazing Whiptail, Atscan Archer, Air Elemental, Cobbled Wings, Crushing Canopy, these are all cards that this deck needs to be able to survive the onslaught of flyers that you're going to experience. Now, I do like Commander Speaker quite a bit, and I think I'm going to just take it here as a like signaling thing of taking a green-blue card. Whereas Commune with Dinosaurs is probably a little better for the deck right now, especially better to find either Spineback or Avatar. Gosh, these two just work so well in tandem, because this says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, not just when you cast it. So it's really, really strong. So we may want to take Commune here, but I think we can get a copy of Commune. I'm just going to grab Speaker here. We don't see a ton for us. We've got some like medium red-white cards, Black Bear here, and Spike-tailed Ceratops, which I am going to grab. Probably hope to not main, but so now you see the remains of our first pack, which was fairly unexciting, save for the shiny Verdant Sun's Avatar. That was the other rare in the pack. I think I'll take Unknown Shores. Depending on how much splashing happens, and a lone copy of Unknown Shores in decks like this are just fine. And now we've got another splashable removal spell in Bright Reprisal or a Commune, and I'm going to take Reprisal here. Your 5-drop slot can get quite clogged in these decks, but I'll just take the Reprisal here. If you are a heavy treasure-based version of the deck, I think Makeshift Munitions can be quite fine, but here I'm going to just grab a Duress for the board. And Queen Space Soldier. Ooh, Blossom Dryad is just fine, as we will want some copies of New Horizons if we see them. So this is a really good spot to be in. We're base green, got a couple white removal spells, got a good blue card, but we could end up being green-black and cut Commander Speaker and Air Elemental and splash these two white cards. We really have any number of options moving forward. We know we're green. We saw a late Spineback and a late Drover. So I think we can be safe to assume that people to our right are not in green, and we didn't pass much, so hopefully we'll get the hookup this pack as well. Now, one of the many benefits of being in this deck is that you have access, because you will be splashing around and have a good mana base for splashing and for fixing, is that any bombs that people open, you'll have access to getting past them, because they won't be casting them, unless they're in their colors, obviously. So here, if we're green, blue, I think the best pick is Siren Lookout. If we're green, white, which I don't think we're going to be. If we're green, black, I would take Seeker Squire. The deck really loves a copy of as many like Wild Growth Walkers or Chupacabras as you can get, because it often has a number of Explorer synergies or Explorers in the deck. So I'm going to make a pretty shocking pick here, and I'm going to grab Ixali's Diviner. I think Ixali's Diviner is one of the most important cards for this deck, because it's a 2-drop that blocks a lot of things. It helps get you a land if you need it. It synergizes with your Explorers if you get them. So that's what I grabbed there. Just also sort of like trying to figure out what our second color is going to be. Like if we were blue, yeah, I probably would have taken a Lookout, but I'm not going to be mad about having another 2-drop, because you have to be able to keep up with the aggro decks in the format. If we're green-blue, I would think Marauding Looter is pretty strong as a splash. There's also Depths of Desire, because one thing that this deck can do is flood out quite a bit, so having card selection is very nice. But we're not often attacking, so at least in many early turns of the game. So Looter sort of goes down in value in that sense. I'm actually just going to take Depths of Desire here. It's good tempo, good against like One with the Winds and Mark of the Vampires and Swashbuckling, and it leaves behind a treasure, which is nice for the fixing. Alright, we get a nice little removal spell here with Savage Stomp. Only 2 dinos currently that really synergize well with it, but otherwise got some good beefy fighters for it. Slice and Twain and Crushing Canopy are both sideboard cards that you want access to, so taking stock of this, but I think I'll just take the Weaver here. Could also take Dreadmaw, but a couple have been floating around, and I don't think we'll have a problem grabbing one of those if we want one, which we do. Take a Runaground here. Yeah. Another good interactive spell. Nice. Got a Wild Growth Walker pretty late. Now, we only have the 1 Explorer so far, but this card is really strong for the deck. And, oh, hello, friend. Now, maybe the responsible thing to do is just to take Lookout. Maybe the responsible thing here is just to take Lookout. Right, we don't really have great fixing right now. You know, we've got Drover and we've got Sun Petal Grove for the white cards, but maybe we should just stick with being Bant and take Siren Lookout. This also helps us with our We're Soft to Flyers part of our deck. Could like cut Dryad here and just take another Explorer. I'm going to do that. I don't love passing the late Chupacabra. Oh, man. And now here we get a Sailor of Means. So I think most people would be like, oh, man, you have to take Chart a Course. You're blue. You need to take Chart a Course. So here's the deal, is that Pirate's Prize is basically better than Chart a Course in these decks, because it's a guaranteed 2 cards rather than you have to attack to get the 2 cards. And it leaves behind a treasure, which is quite relevant for these decks as well. So I'm going to take Sailor here and just know that like I can probably get a Pirate's Prize at some point if I want one. Jade Guardian is not the kind of card that this deck wants. Cancel could be, but I think as an Explorer and a card that has Lifelink on it, I'm going to take Queen's Agent. I don't know that we'll be able to play it based on our mana requirements, but take that there. Take Altosaur, I suppose. It's a good looking 15 right now. Only 2 Explorers. I'm actually pretty happy that I picked up that Lookout and not the Chupacabra. Only 2 Explorers for the Walker right now, but, you know, an Exali's Diviner wheeling in this pack is not absurd, and certainly can prioritize them a bit more in the next pack. But this deck is really coming together, in my opinion. We have all of the pieces, right? We've got removal, we've got early defensive cards, we've got late game payoffs, we've got a mana sink, another Kamina Speaker. Yeah, I mean, these are just nice, cheap threats to deploy. We could also just take a Windstrider as another flying blocker. I think I'm going to take Windstrider. Slice and Twain for the board. Sentinel Totem for someone's Deathless Ancient, and another, the 800th Blossom Dryad. I'd be interested to see which I'll prefer there. And also on signaling, like, are we going to get burned from the person to our right getting a late Kamina Speaker? I certainly hope not. Okay, well, this is a pretty easy Grazing Whiptail, in my opinion. For this deck. Now, for other decks, certainly Pirate's Cutlass, Vineshaper Mystic, very strong. And maybe we were just supposed to draft like a quote-unquote good Merfolk deck. Maybe that's what was open for our seat. But this deck that we have here is much more exciting to me. I'm going to hope that this Commune with Dinosaurs wheels, as I would like one copy of that, but I'm just going to grab Whiptail here. It's also another cheaper dinosaur for Savage Stomp. Oh, speaking of Savage Stomp, there's another one. There is another Siren Lookout as well, and a Prosperous Pirates, which is nice for fixing and splashing. But got to take another removal spell here. Our removal suite is quite nice. 2 Stomps, Interdiction, Bright Reprisal, Depths of Desire, Run Aground. Like, it's a good little removal package. Oh, hello. Any Explorer here? No, right? Yeah. So Sunbird's Invocation, kind of tough to splash right now. We've got Drover, we've got Unknown Shores. Hopefully we've got Sailor, and we've got Depths. Oh, this is easy to splash. Never mind, I don't know what I was thinking. Sunbird's Invocation is just absurd, especially in a deck that has like 2 7s and 3 5s and 3 4s. This is going to really draw us a bunch of cards and help us like pull out of some tough spots with all the card advantages that we'll get. I'm going to grab Tishana's Wayfinder over another Speaker, though this Speaker could also wheel. And these are just good, they're just good cards, especially with things like Sailor or Depths, to be able to double spell in a turn. To go like Sailor means play a 2-2. Just because 2-2s are generally going to trade with something on your opponent's side of the battlefield, and that's all these decks are trying to do, you know? So I'm just going to get a Wayfinder here. Ooh. More Explore. Something like Water Trap Weaver might get cut at this point. It's not doing a ton for our deck. I think I like Wayfinder still a little better than Lookout. Our flying defense is okay, right? We've got Elemental, Strider, and Whiptail, and a Lookout, as well as some bounce and removal. So I'm just going to take Wayfinder. And a Diviner, that's great. I guess I'll take Dispersal. We don't have a ton of pirates, and by we don't have a ton, I mean we have 2. But I like it a little better than Cancel. Yeah, New Horizons would have been my dream last card. But this deck worked out great. And now I think we're definitely going to play the Unknown Shores. Ha! Big Butt Bronze. I mean, it's cute and all, but it doesn't really do much more for our deck. On the flip side, well, so we're taking. I think we'll just take a copy of Cancel, which we certainly could just play. Wow, Mystic? Interesting. Commune with Dinosaurs didn't wheel, but Vineshaper Mystic did. We now have 1, 2, 3 Merfolk. Still not a lot. Still not a lot. I mean, it's a 3-mana 2/4. It's not bad. With that Bronxodon we just passed. Just looking at this Cobbled Wings as a card that helps break through board stalls, yada yada. I'm just going to take Mystic, though. Prosperous Pirates wheeled. That's good. I'm going to take that. Play it. Take a Cancel. over the Aegisaur, though Aegisaur is interesting with double Savage Stomp. We already have one cancel. I'll take Aegisaur. Alright, we did get a Kamina Speaker back. Take that over Depths. Sure, take another Altasaur. Our only real card advantage engine is Spineback, or is Invocation, right? So the only, like, with all the explorers that we have what, 5? And Drover, and Depth and Sailor. Like, I think we could, in theory, play 16 lands, but our color commitments are also going to be a little crappy. I think we got to run 1 plains, no mountains. 8-6-1, that seems right to me. I think this deck is going to be sweet. I hope you all will enjoy playing these rounds with me, and I'll see you here for our first match.